Hi, Rena. Hypotonia, CP. How do I tell at 10 months? Okay, so first of all, looking at evaluation, and I really do appreciate when you send me like 5, 6 videos, anybody of your posts. I have to tell someone today because they're just showing me something with the feet. I'm like, what's the rest of the body doing? Um, so go over with this with her. It is very unlikely to have hypotonia and cerebral palsy. You know, when you have low tone, the low tone is really more considered for genetics. That doesn't mean, too, that either one of these conversations are going to get us to either developmental delays or global delays. Now, the conversations of CP would be more so in the arms and stuff in the high chair kind of thing. One of the things you will see with cerebral palsy is the commitment. And so her arms want to commit, not through the shoulder blade, all of this, they want to commit. So again, the wrist commits, the wrist commits, but that ability to go in and out, that ability to go in and out with the shoulder, there's a commitment or there's a commitment, right? Some people look at that as contractures. It's not always immediately contractures. You have to understand, you can be born with contractures, right? And this is one of the webinars I just did, but with contractures, they can also start to happen just by the force of gravity, or people say it's the muscles, but really lots of times it's the force of gravity, like just not having that within the wrist just pulls it down, and now the appendages become dimorphic. So that's what's looked at there. But what my biggest concern is what's going on with that hip. Honestly, I'd get a hip x-ray. I think the reason too you would get a hypotonic response is when the hips aren't engaging. And I don't like that she's got the one-legged crawl. I don't like the way that she's dragging it. Even when she's in a full-on crawl, she's, when you're crawling, the knees and the toes and all that should be almost like you're putting out, I hate to say, like a cigarette. You know what I mean? You don't crawl like this, right? We crawl, that rotation through, because that's what gives us our momentum. That just like we go into skiing and so forth like that. We're not skiing like this. If we do, we're going to fall down. We get that shush and and do all of that. That's what crawling matures into. If you didn't crawl well, you're not going to ski well. And then what happens too with the one-leggedness, and she's got to have also issues with constipation. Will probably show up in the video, but and I was just doing this with the Zoom yesterday, but when I'm crawling, my vertebrae should do this. When I have a one-legged, and this is why people see the exterior motion, they don't think of the interior responses, right? So when I'm crawling, these are my vertebrae. When I'm looking up, right, it should be like this, right? This nice scoop and going on here. It shouldn't be, again, one-legged where my spine's hardly crossing midline. And then when I say, well, they don't come up to sitting through your back and all that, and people are like, how do you know you're psychic? No, it's when I'm only feeling the spine doing this. I've got severe asymmetry. When I only see the head going back, and this, and I don't feel the spine doing this, I know the vision is off for functional vision with the body, whether it's just something simple as a visual midline crossing or something more dramatic due to, let's say, a plagiocephaly or a flat head. So those are the things to work on. Work on, again, it would be the pubic bone strike. However, I'm really concerned that hip is off, and that hip, if it's subluxation or something that's going on with that, it's a bit more than that. It's more of a drag than it is a club crawl. Because a club crawl, what would happen was it should be crawling almost to look up, and I'm not seeing where her vision is an issue. It's more of a leg drag. I know 10 months is young for a hip x-ray, and I know where you're from, so it might be a hard one to get. But I would want a good, I think she's struggling with development because she's struggling with structure. And so that I would be pretty diligent on seeing if I could get a hip x-rays. They might say not till 1. But I hate to see her going into developmentally. What you're talking about is either the delays or CP, just due to structure, you know what I mean, where she just needs help there. But there's something going on with that hip. And let me know what you think. Thanks.